Let's be real. When people think of Henry VIII, they think of the guy with 6 wives and a dramatic love life. Maybe you learned he started the Church of England so he could get a divorce. End of story. Right? Wrong. The truth is, Henry VIII was one of the most disturbing rulers in history, whose leg wounds smelled so bad that servants literally gagged when they got near him. We're talking about a man who became so obese and so physically rotten that he had to be moved with mechanical lifts. And yes, whose coffin exploded after death from the gases building up in his corpse. And that's just the beginning. By the end of his life, Henry VIII wasn't just overweight, he was falling apart. Literally. His waist was over 54 inches. He weighed around 400 pounds. His legs were covered in giant ulcers that it was to pus non-stop. These weren't little sores. These were massive, open, festering wounds. His servants drew straws to see who had to help dress him. That's how nasty it got. People could smell him before they saw him. His courtiers used perfumed cloths just to stand near him. A lot of Henry's madness can be traced back to one day in 1536. During a jousting tournament, he got thrown off his horse and knocked out cold. He was unconscious for 2 hours. That kind of head trauma, in modern terms, is a massive brain injury. And after that, everything changed. He became angrier, more paranoid, and more violent. Some historians believe he developed Cushing's syndrome, too, which would explain his insane weight gain, mood swings, and the leg wounds that never healed. But nobody dared tell him he was sick. Saying the king was unwell could get you executed. So they just let him rot. We all know the rhyme: divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. But what really happened to Henry's wives is way darker than a nursery rhyme. Taken book before he had her executed, he forced her to watch 5 men, including her own brother, be killed for supposedly sleeping with her. All of it was made up. Imagine standing there, waiting for your own death, watching innocent people die, just because your husband wanted you gone. Then there's Catherine Howard. She was basically still a teenager. Henry found out about her past, and instead of handling it like a human being, he passed a new law that made it treason to marry the king without confessing your sexual history. He rewrote the law because his ego couldn't take it. And Catherine of Aragon, she spent her last years under house arrest, banned from seeing her daughter, while Henry spread rumors that she was crazy. She died alone, possibly poisoned, writing letters to Henry he never even read. Henry didn't just eat like royalty. He ate like he was trying to break some medieval eating record. He regularly consumed over 5,000 calories a day. Whole pigs, chickens, fish, piles of bread, rivers of wine. The royal kitchen cooked 800 dishes a day for his household, with Henry sampling dozens at a time. He believed food gave him powers. Seriously, he thought swan meat made him graceful, deer meat improved his hunting skills, and oysters made him better in the bedroom. Everything he ate had to be tested for poison. But he was so paranoid. He made his food tasters wait 30 minutes before he touched his plate, just in case they dropped dead. By the end, Henry wasn't just paranoid. He was obsessed. He slept with crossbows next to his bed, daggers under his pillow, and guards watching him sleep. He had escape tunnels built into his castles and peepholes in walls to spy on his own courtiers. He even had spies watching his other spies. He thought his daughters were out to get him. He executed people because he dreamed they were traitors. The Tower of London was constantly full of people who said the wrong thing, or nothing at all. Being around Henry was like living in a never-ending episode of Black Mirror. You'd think death would be the end of it, but no. Henry's final chapter might be the most horrifying of all. He got so big and so full of infection that pieces of his body fell off when they moved him around. His servants had to follow behind him and clean up the rotting flesh he left behind. When he finally died, nobody even wanted to check the body. And when they sealed him in a coffin, his body started to decompose so fast that gas built up inside the casket. And then, it exploded. His rotting remains burst out of the coffin mid-procession. Dogs were reportedly seen licking up the mess on the road. Yes, the King of England basically became roadkill. They couldn't even bury him properly. The grave kept collapsing under the weight of the corpse and the layers of lead. And for years, people said they heard weird noises and smelled something awful around the tomb. Henry VIII wasn't just the founder of the Church of England, or the guy with 6 wives. He was a human disaster, a paranoid, gluttonous, decaying tyrant who turned his kingdom into a living nightmare. Even after death, his chaos kept going. So next time someone says Henry VIII was a great king, remember, his coffin exploded. His wives were victims of psychological torture, and his kingdom lived in fear of his rotting rage. If this changed how you see royal history, hit that like button. There are way more disturbing historical truths they don't teach in school, and we're just getting started. Subscribe for more horrifying stories from the past that are stranger and way more terrifying than fiction. Thanks for watching.